Hi, everyone. My name is James Musgrave. I'm a senior consultant at Capco, and I'm joined here today by Neal Oswald, the Chief Operating Officer at Concentra. Thank you for joining, Neal.
No problem, James.
Okay, let's get started. So we are here today to talk about data collaboration and a few different trends that we've seen recently related to data management and analytics. So we know how important data integration is across the board for both data management and analytics. And we've seen many different types of tools emerging trying to address that, such as data fabrics or augmented data management. One trend we are seeing is the rise of data collaboration. This takes a more holistic view of data and analytics by placing the user at the center of the experience. It also leverages automation and integrated data governance in order to simplify integration into a single platform. So we wanted to get your perspective on a few different things. So just curious, from your perspective, how has the user experience for data and analytics evolved in financial services? And what role do you see data playing in the next 5 years?
In the last 5 years, we've seen people get more focused on the client experience and the employee experience to enable the employee to serve clients better. And so data plays a key part of that, in that if we have the data, we can reduce the friction. We know where people are, we know what they're doing, we can help them get through their journey inside an organization. The user and employee experience are more tightly coupled than ever before, and they're interdependent. So if the employee can't deliver, the customer generally gets a poor experience. Users are becoming more data aware and more knowledgeable. And in our own organization, we have a platform strategy, and data is a big part of that platform. We need to design for data and insight up front to enable the client and the employee experience to be what we expect it to be. Over the next 5 years is too far out in the future. I think if we don't get data right in the work from home virtual environment, it won't matter. Customers and employees are going to choose something else and move.
Yeah, one thing I think we can certainly all agree upon is the importance of framing these data solutions from not just the perspective of a producer, but also from a user, the end user, as you suggested. So that's certainly something we have seen and something that is very pervasive within this trend of data collaboration. In terms of the actual usage of data collaboration technology, how do you see it providing value for your enterprise, and where do you think it has the potential to have the biggest impact?
Yeah, thanks, James. Data collaboration platforms give back control to the user in how they use and interpret data. So if we provision the data to the platform, the users know what they want and go after it. The biggest impact is on the speed and quality of what we're doing with the data. Because of what we're doing, we're faster, and we're also improving the quality of our data, which means faster, better insights in the service of the customer, or in employee execution in service of the customer. We're deploying better dashboards and tools for users that they can help serve themselves, and also for customers to serve themselves. The insights we're starting to get or to see are improving our management of our business and starting to improve our business performance. On the cost side, collaboration platforms are a cost-efficient way to bring data together.
Yeah, and I agree that being able to empower employees also has a lot of value for the end customer as well. So, I think being able to enable different types of users to access customer data will enable them to understand their customer better and provide more value in return. I'm also curious, in your experience, what have been the most unexpected challenges of implementing data management solutions that you have encountered, and what practical advice do you have for those who might be considering on embarking on investing in a new enterprise data solution?
Yeah, thanks, James. Well, not unlike any other organization, we have way too much to do and too few resources to do it. And so our biggest challenge is choosing the right projects to fund, choosing the right initiatives to fund, and making sure they make good sense. So the advice I'd give is actually really think hard about the sequence of work and the value that it delivers to the organization. And to do that, I think it's a business-led conversation about what data and insight would make a difference to the business and how you run the business and operate the business and serve customers.
In our recent white paper, we've discussed a few different trends like augmented data management, knowledge graphs, unified data environments, and data fabrics. What do you consider to be the top 3 opportunities in data analytics for this year and next?
Thanks, James. I think the first big opportunity is to actually stay very focused on the client and employee experience, to reduce friction in front of the client and provide insight and manage the business performance in front of the customer. I think that's the primary reason for doing this. The second is to actually think and design beyond your 4 walls. So think about your analytics platform in the context of your partners and in terms of your customers and third parties and vendors. Because it's not just your data that affects the client and employee experience, it's who you're working with and how you're working with them. And the last one is to adopt an enterprise view of data as an asset. So it's not just my data go away, it's our data. Let's figure out how to use it and manage it like an asset, just like any other asset in the organization. You may ask why I didn't comment on machine learning and AI. I view that as an opportunity for sure, but I think it's a method to gain insight. And I think that people are overhyping it because you first need to know what you need strategically to do with your business. And then, of course, you apply the tools to get the analysis or the insights you need.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with all of that. We have seen data as being the key differentiator because we know that having access to unique or certain types of data can give you a competitive advantage when it comes to the application of machine learning or advanced analytics. Kind of curious from your perspective as well. We know that 2020 has been kind of an unusual year. And I'm curious to know if there's anything specific that you have seen unique to this year that has arisen. Any interesting challenges or opportunities that you've witnessed thus far?
Yeah, so we of course had the CEBA loan program come into our organization, and we used a data collaboration platform to launch that program in like a week and a half. Maybe it was two weeks, but we launched it very quickly. And so the nimbleness with which we did that was pretty impressive, even for my standards. So I was pleased that it worked out so well. We've also got, in our organization, work being done on an analytics platform to provision data to people to look at customer and product profitability and also line of business reporting. And so in the pandemic, we had to do a lot of extra reporting around loan deferrals and potential loan losses and all that. And so that was enabled by the data platform. I think we would have had trouble if we did not have that platform in place.
Yeah, I'm curious, what enabled you in order to get that program up and running so quickly? I'm just interested in, you mentioned that you were able to have a very quick timeline for delivery. What do you think was critical in enabling that rapid?
Well, as you mentioned in your prologue, data collaboration allows users to come to a common place to share and exchange data with appropriate access and security controls, of course. So if you actually set that up well, you can have, in our case, credit unions coming into that platform. You can have us administering that platform and the third-party EDC getting information from that platform. So it all works for the way it's supposed to work as a data collaboration platform.
Yeah, so I guess the ability to remove some of those traditional barriers that are typically required for development and eliminate some of those hindrances was critical to your success.
It removed the traditional four-wall barriers around organizations because it allowed people to come through and do work that they wouldn't otherwise do without a lot of complexity.
Yeah, very interesting. Another thing that we have seen unique to this year is the application of non-traditional analytics methods or accessing different types of data. And as part of this, what we have seen is the extension of data and analytics to different types of user groups who don't traditionally have large use cases for data and analytics. Have you seen any unique stakeholders or different types of teams or individuals coming to the table with unique asks or requests?
Well, in a traditional sense, there used to be finance repositories of data, risk repositories of data, ops repositories of data. What we're trying to do is not have those demarcations as much as we historically have had. And so, for instance, we just finished launching what we called a Data Standard 1.0 for some of our service providers, giving us information, which then we put that data into our platform. And through that platform, risk and the business, ops and the front office are using the same information as opposed to differing versions of the same information. So we've just gone live with that in July, which is pretty good, because we are stopping some of the cycles about, well, my data is a little bit different than yours. We stop that churn.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, a lot of us are still very well aware of the traditional silos that continue to trouble organizations, both large and small, of all different types. What's interesting about this data collaboration technology is it specifically tries to address some of those pain points by incorporating processes and tools and building a platform to bring all those things together. I think it's also great for creating quick and effective solutions that can enable progress, as well as strategic gain, as you're able to kind of buy time for those types of endeavors. Any other recent trends from this year that you think are interesting or would like to share?
Well, I think there's an emerging trend of even trying to tie front office client activity data into your transactional repository data, so you can really improve client service. So as you gather information on people on your public website, moving to your private website, moving to your transaction processing systems, connecting up that data to see what they're doing, how long that takes, is it an easy journey, is it a difficult journey? I think you're going to see these type of platforms enable that type of end-to-end analysis of data. And I call that operational insight from end to end. And I think that's what we're starting to see. And it's usually focused around the client experience and the employee experience, but on an end-to-end basis.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. We've seen a few organizations attempting this, and sometimes you have to make certain assumptions. But there are other elements such as data exchanges or other service providers that can facilitate with some of these activities. We used to call it Customer 360. We're now seeing Customer 720 or 1080. So, there's always potential for more data, always potential for more insights. And, tools like data collaboration technology, we see as being able to provide those insights to new users and creating more value for the business.
Yeah, another way to say that is the omni-channel distinctions that historically have been in place start to blur. So if you're on a cell phone, working on a cell phone, and you switch to an online app, and you switch back to a transaction processing app, those former channel barriers start to really diminish. So you've got a case. You don't have a case in a channel. You have a case. Mm-hmm. And they cross the channels kind of seamlessly.
Yeah, and I think what we have seen recently is because of the circumstances related to COVID-19 and the pandemic, that type of omni-channel experience is now effectively table stakes or required for enterprises in order to compete in today's marketplace.
We're in a new world with work from home and virtual fulfillment and virtual service. And so data is key in that environment, of course.
Yes, absolutely.